Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you can see the chat, please go ahead and let us know where you're calling in from today. City and state and country. Green Bay, Wisconsin, Little Rock, Arkansas. Awesome. Indiana. Very cool. California. Wow. Washington, Minnesota, Colorado, Connecticut. I don't think we've had a duplicate yet. Excellent. That's exciting to see such a nationwide audience. Albuquerque, Minnesota. Excellent. Seattle. Very exciting. Denver. Excellent. Well, you guys can keep that chat going, please. If you're joining, just let us know where you're calling in from today. My name is Lori King. I'm a marketing specialist with NMSU campus. We are recording. This will be, if you have to jump off early, we will be sending this out in a follow-up email in the next couple of days. So rest assured that everything will be maintained and will be sent to you along with the details about our course. Today's open house is introducing you to our microlearning course, the Chief of Staff certification. I'm going to go over a couple brief introductions and give you some background information and some base language so we're all on the same page. That's going to be pretty brief so that we can get to the heart of our event and the heart of our conversation, which is interviewing our course creator and Chief of Staff expert and telling you more about the course. There will be time at the end for questions and answers. There are a couple people on our staff that are monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, you can throw them in there as well. Okay, so again, today is all about the Chief of Staff certification and microlearning course. So this is just a brief slide giving you kind of the overview of this Chief of Staff certification. It is a microlearning course through NMSU Global Campus. We'll explain that in a minute. Enrollment is already open. You can enroll at any time and you can start now or at any time. The course length is 6 weeks. It is self-paced. It's 100% online. The cost is $995. This is the enrollment link to enroll directly into the course. And if Andrew or Rachel could put that in the chat, that would be great. And we will show this screen again at the end and include this information in the follow-up email. For any questions, there's also an email here directly email the course instructor. We have a lot of student testimonials. We have several people that have already started the class. We're really excited. You can read about it here. We've also added these student testimonials. There's even more on the storefront page. So again, that page where you go to enroll in the course, you can also read other success stories and people's feedback from people that are already in the course and having success.
What I want to go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and introduce myself before we kick things off. So my name is Andrew Cedillo. I'm the director of microlearning at NMSU Global. So at NMSU Global, we're looking to transform learning through our microlearning platform. So we offer a bunch of different micro-credentials that target specific skills and are designed to help you quickly enhance your expertise in those areas. So whether you want to update your skills, learn new skills, or advance in your field, we're looking to start offering a bunch of different courses that will hopefully help you stay competitive in today's job market. So one thing I wanted to also share is that our micro-credentials allow our instructors to go beyond just degree programs. And that's what Maggie's going to explain in just a little bit, and provide a personalized learning experience to all learners. So that way you can benefit from gaining recognition of acquired skills, helps you bridge skill set gaps, and grow your expertise in these specific areas. We collaborate with a bunch of different businesses, solopreneurs like Maggie. We also have our internal faculty that also offer micro-credentialing. So stay up to date with what we're offering by following our NMSU Global Campus social pages, which I'll share in just a little bit. But enough about me. I want to hand it off to the star of the show. You all are here to hear all about her course and learn more about Maggie. So Lori, do you want to go ahead and kick us off?
I just wanted to quickly introduce Maggie. She is our creator of the course. She's the owner and founder of Maggie Olson Consulting. She's the creator and instructor of the Chief of Staff course. About Maggie, so she is the first Chief of Staff to the president of a Fortune 40 company leading a multi-billion-dollar business. She designed every tool, template, and process to support the president as their inaugural chief of staff. She created roles for, hired, and led 7 people on the chief of staff team, all in support of the president across various areas, anything from business planning, engagements, events, communications, employee programs, executive teamwork, and more. She's recognized and awarded for excellent achievements in the chief of staff role with countless endorsements. As far as her leadership and experience, she has over 20 years of experience leading teams. She has expertise across the fields, including retail, food and beverage, technology, and more. She's known for great leadership, approachability, collaboration, exceptional reliability and work quality, and has a history of high achievement, recognition, and success. She earned her MBA from Foster School of Business at University of Washington and a Bachelor of Science in Economics at Central Washington University. So without further ado, Maggie, here we are.
Okay, hi everyone, thanks. It's so awkward listening to yourself, especially when it's like, okay, here's all the things you've done and let's just summarize that up. I'm really excited that you're all here. It looks like we have about 40 people. I think we're going to get into a lot of things. Probably one of the biggest questions on your mind after hearing like, oh, corporate chiefs of staff is like, why did you create this course? So I want to share that with you guys to start. Truly, I created this course because I was sitting in business school thinking and being told, what am I going to specialize in? I'm being told, you need to specialize. Is it marketing? Is it finance? What are you going to do? And it just didn't really sit with me. I felt like I was a generalist leader. So if you identify with me in these things, we can talk about this later, what makes a great chief of staff. But I felt like I was a generalist leader. I enjoyed learning a business from the top. I enjoyed working on a lot of different things. And I felt like I was, and I am good at a lot of different things. I'm just not someone who wants to specialize. Organized, kind of enjoy the professionalism and networking and kind of polish that comes with working with executives and people leading businesses. And yet I didn't find out about the chief of staff role for like maybe 3 or 4 years post my MBA program. So I created this course because I want to share the possibility of the chief of staff role, or you might hear or see it be called something similar like business operations, or kind of like the back office person to XYZ vice president. Essentially helping a leader really run their back office from a strategic place. And we can get into more of that later, but that's really why I created the course. I think there's a lot of people out there like me, those generalist leaders who want to figure out what they need to do, and they don't want to specialize, and they don't want to be heads down on one topic. So I've loved the chief of staff role, and nothing like this certification exists out there. There's a few different kinds of things. It's a little bit more thought leadership-y and networky and cohort based. This is truly a probably getting ahead of myself here, but like a hands-on mimicked course to like an onboarding period in a chief of staff role for like 6 months. So we can get into that, but Lori, that's kind of, I guess, my kickoff, and feel free, we can move on from there.
Excellent, excellent. That answers a lot of questions about background. You got someone in here that said already speaking my language. Very cool, very cool. So tell us a little bit about who this course is intended for, who would benefit from this type of course.
Yeah, so my main answer to that is a lot of people, but I'll give some specifics in some different ways. So I kind of talked about that generalist leader and those kind of attributes from a school setting. I would also suggest thinking about like are you of your friend group? Are you one of those people that's like the most organized in your group? And it doesn't have to be organized in the same way as everybody else. It could be, you know, the way you take notes in school was color coded and sticky noted, or maybe it's you're organizing all your friends, you know, your friend trips, or you have some other process. Basically that you are somebody that sees complex things and gets them organized and executed in a way to kind of drive things forward. Efficiency based is one good thing. So I talked a lot about attributes. I'll also talk about like kind of where you're coming from. So I think this is a great course for business students, undergrad, graduate, who are kind of thinking about their role in their future. I also think it's a great course for a subset of executive assistants who really want more. They're those driven, we've all worked with them, right? Executive assistants like keep everything running. And a lot of them are career executive assistants. They love their job. They want to be in this role forever. There's also a subset of executive assistants. If you haven't worked with one, you should, because they're amazing. They're those driven achievers. They want more responsibility. They want a bigger kind of strategic role. They're always trying to dive in and do more, but they haven't had the exposure or the opportunity to really dive in and practice and kind of gain the competence and then the confidence to be able to say, I know what a chief of staff role is. I've learned about it. I've had the hands-on practice. So that's another area. Additionally, and I'm seeing a question come in, we'll get to questions for sure. It's really great for people who are in maybe a business operations role, or they're in some kind of an ops role focused on process and efficiency and planning, and they want to do that from a higher level. The chief of staff role is great for somebody that wants to learn a business from the top down and work in lots of different industries or businesses. So I left my corporate role, which I really liked, learned a ton, and wanted to switch gears and work in the kind of high growth startup world. It's a mission-driven kind of for-profit that I'm going for now. Just saw a nonprofit come in through the chat. There's several people in the course right now who are from nonprofits. So the chief of staff role, I don't know much about the political chief of staff. I can't promise anything there, but the chief of staff role totally crosses industries. It's industry agnostic. We have a police captain in our course right now who's, this bureau is adding a chief of staff to their team. We've got higher ed directors who are thinking about, my role actually kind of seems like chief of staff. It's not called that, but I'm sure helping my leader drive initiatives forward. So last example I'll give, I have always been like kind of that driven, achieving person. But I've also thought, man, I'd make a great support person. I really know how to drive priorities forward, but I want to be in a strategic role. I want to do that kind of more that a bird's eye view. That is another, great spot for people looking for the chief of staff role. So you kind of get the idea. It spans pretty wide.
That's great information, Maggie. I know that one of the first conversations you and I had, and you talked about how someone who has a really high level of organization would be a great chief of staff. And, so you can already start to begin with everybody, on the call today, how would I fit into this, or where my strengths would really fit into a chief of staff role. So that's really great. And the fact that it's nonprofit, it's corporate, I love the term industry agnostic. It really fits a lot of different roles and industries.
Lori, I was just thinking too, I was chatting with Tyler Paris, who some of you may know, and he reminded me too that there's this subset of consultants who have always worked kind of outside of businesses on the kind of peripheral, who want to settle into a business or settle into a company. Those consultants probably already have a lot of hands-on practice with the content development from a presentation standpoint, but they may not feel as comfortable in the day-to-day of settling into a corporate role or a nonprofit role or whatever it might be.
Very cool. Very cool. So my next question is, can you share the structure of the course and a little bit of the course content that the students would be able to get a feel for and experience?
Yes, we will. I think we might answer this again, but the biggest question we've gotten thus far is the course self-paced? And the answer is yes, completely self-paced. Essentially, we designed the course, and you met Andrew earlier. Andrew introduced himself. He helped build the course in Canvas. So he's our instructional designer, basically, for all the course content. We designed the course to be over 6 modules, and that's kind of intended to be 6 weeks, but you can start, stop, pause, complete the course on your own time. With that, I had a hard time figuring out, I'm sure maybe you guys can relate, if the course should be cohort based or a lot of in-person time to chat. And we're launching it completely asynchronous, with the exception of a one-on-one meeting with me at the beginning of the course. Is just 10-minute meet and greet. What are your goals? How'd you find the course? How can I help you along the way? Kind of just touching on a couple things. And then one touch point at the end of the course where I will give you feedback on your final project. Again, it's just like a 10-minute chat. So with that, asynchronous, 6 modules, 6 weeks, but you can start and stop at any time. That brings us probably to the course content. So the first module is unique in the sense that it's really the only module that's diving into kind of the research about the role, deepening your thought, deepening your understanding of the role. And then so you're basically reading several articles, you're reflecting on what kinds of gaps in my current experience do I have that I should focus on? How do I think about the role now? And how do I think about the role now that I've read all of these things? So then from there, the structure of the course really takes a big change. From modules 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, it's hands-on content development. And I should say, if we haven't already, this is a foundational Chief of Staff certification course. So as I mentioned earlier, we mimic kind of the first 6 to 12 month onboarding in a job. I tried to figure out what kinds of hands-on assignments would be the most reoccurring real life situations pulled directly from my experience that you would do in a new Chief of Staff role or on a Chief of Staff team supporting a leader. What does that look like? Module 2 is business planning and organization. So you're diving into like PowerPoint formatting and the polish of a presentation, creating a brief, putting a strategic recommendation together. Let's see, there's some like how to run an effective meeting, putting an executive team on site together. A lot of things that you may fully own as a Chief of Staff, dependent on the role, dependent on the organization, or it may be something that you have to be well aware of all the details and make sure it's executed very well, but you may not be the hands-on designer of it in a role. It really just depends on the Chief of Staff position. So all of these things are important for you to know how to do and how to do it well. So module 3 moves to events, communications, and storytelling. So essentially you're going to read about a leader and go explore their communication style and then draft an email announcement speaking for them. You're going to plan and execute kind of an event brief for an all hands meeting for a big company. And then you're going to put together a sales update that's basically like a presentation for an investor meeting. And there's lots of other little things in here. There's a lot of videos and kind of hot tips and stuff. But after this call, we will send a note out with the detailed course content. So you don't have to worry about like trying to remember all this. We can get it to you. Okay, so module 4 is all about strategic prioritization and executive project management. I love this kind of stuff. For this module, you're going to basically listen to a deep dive, like data brain dump from your leader about all of their priorities. Like basically like, okay, I'm really busy right now. Here's what's on my mind. All right, we got to do this. We got to think about her going here. My next steps, you're going to try to capture all of that and put it into a like an executive project management document where you can get organized. We can rank what's most, highest priority, who's on point to execute whatever, which duties you as the Chief of Staff are going to take. So you're going to get that all organized. That's kind of the summary of module 4. And then we're almost done here. Module 5 is filling the gaps. As you will learn in module 1, or maybe you already know, Chiefs of Staff fill a lot of gaps. So from employee programs to, oh, I got to order that swag, to, oh, maybe I need to send a thank you for my leader to the guy that he met with last month. There's a lot of things. So in this module, we talk a little bit about how to approach those random things. So it's, drafting an employee newsletter, creating an org chart. Again, not something that as a Chief of Staff, you're probably going to have to do all the time. But if you're a new Chief of Staff to an organization that has never had one before, there might be some organizational things you have to do to get everything off the ground. Additionally, you'll have a little bit of exercise around kind of executive presence, knowing your network, and just sort of all these filling the gaps things. And finally, that brings us to module 6, which is a virtual meeting with your leader. So you will schedule a meeting and run through an agenda, presenting course assignments that you've done, talking through what the next steps are, what you need to update your leader on, et cetera. That'll be recorded, and that's what we will meet at the end of the course to discuss, and I can give you feedback on all that. So I'm going to take a drink of water. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll totally get to all of them.
Excellent, excellent. It's such great information, and it's an amazing course. There's just so much content packed in. I can't believe you packed basically 6 months of onboarding into 6 weeks. But students are definitely going to walk away with a lot of value add. So speaking of that, what will students leave with when they complete the course?
Yes, I don't think I touched on this, but in module 2, you're going to get basically a huge kind of PowerPoint deck of 20 plus tools and templates that you will kind of work with and work on through the course and create your own work like output with those templates. So at the end of the course, you'll leave with all those templates that you can take to your chief of staff for similar job. And then you'll also leave with a portfolio of completed work. There you go, a ton of other templates that you can take to your job. So rather than having you all go recreate, reinvent the wheel on this project management template, there's kind of a handful of things in there for agendas and calendars and project management and all that. And then you will receive a digital badge. That might be a new term to a lot of you. It's kind of I'm on this call with some university people, so you're probably gonna laugh, but it's just like the new trendy thing that says I got this cool thing at this like global online campus, and you get this digital badge, right? Anything I'm missing there, guys?
Yeah, I could share a little bit. So like one thing that's really nice about badging is the fact you've all, I'm sure on this call, have earned certificates at some point where you earn this certificate, you print it out and you put it on your wall. And maybe somebody goes up to you and says, hey, what did you learn that certificate? Oh, I don't remember. I took this, years ago, or, whatever it might be. But what a digital badge allows you to do is it kind of creates more of a footprint for your journey in learning. So as you earn different digital badges, what happens is it'll get populated into what's called the digital backpack. And this, in a sense, is your online portfolio. So let's say I took Maggie's course and I earned a chief of staff digital badge. What happens is I can then send that link through to employers. I can send this, you put this on my resume, I can post this on LinkedIn. And if somebody clicks on that link, it shows that it's verified by New Mexico State University. And it also, what's most important is it does show that a description of the badge and also how it was earned. So this showcases your skills in a better way than ever before, because now you can tell your story. So when you're sitting in those interviews, let's say you're applying for a chief of staff role and you're able to speak and use information from this course that you're learning. And then afterwards share, I have proof that I have these skills and this is what I did in this specific class. Check out this link. You can see exactly what I needed to do to earn this digital badge. And the nice thing about this is that we do offer other micro-credentials. So there's project management, micro-credentials, SEO. So let's say you earn those badges. Now you're kind of more so telling your story in a digital way. So it's really exciting stuff. And Maggie, you can go ahead and keep on talking a little bit about the course, but yeah, that's the return on the investment with the digital badge.
Okay, so perfect. Clearly much better explanation than me.
I'll add
two
one
other
quick
things.
thing too.
Oh yeah.
So with the digital badge, I think also seamlessly enters into LinkedIn or your online portfolio. I know one of the courses I completed, I got the email, it walked me right through. It was seamless. I was able to add it to LinkedIn. So super seamless connections too, to be able to share it. And then your employer too is going to recognize that or see that as a value add, that you're continuing your education, you're investing in your own personal development, or maybe they are. So it's a value added for your employer too, if you choose to stay with them, if you're not looking at this as a way to advance somewhere. So excellent.
Yeah, I had no idea about that. That's great. And that leads me to really just the other two things that you leave with. You do get a certificate of completion. Someone asked me for that specifically to show an employer, I think for credit, reimbursement credit for the course. And then you'll also leave with a summary one-pager explaining what you learned in the course so that you can take that to interviews or to your employer and help you communicate what the benefit of the course was for you.
Excellent. Excellent. From Justine Miley, we have a question for you, Maggie, about how many hours a week do you anticipate for this course?
So I kind of went through and added up each module's time slot. It's really probably around, I should say up to 50 hours. of course content, 5 to 10 hours a week. We're going to see how that lands with people. I think some people are going to get through a lot faster. They may be like, I can write this brief real quickly. I've done this before. Other people may want to take more time, want to digest a little bit more or do some other practice. But we're saying up to 50 hours of course content, probably 5 to 10 hours per week.
Excellent. And then for Andrew, Miguel had asked, and we just posted the link to our overall storefront. Miguel had asked for the digital backpack, how many badge courses are we running through NMSU? So Andrew, could you speak to that, as well as how many are in development and how many are coming?
Yeah. We have on our storefront probably about 30 right now. We have some internal offerings as well that are kind of invite only, and we have like close to 20 plus now in development. So we have a lot of, courses that are going to be coming out soon. And again, the idea behind this is these are all high in demand skills. And like Maggie had mentioned previously, like these are perfect opportunities for students who are currently in degree programs, maybe thinking about degree program, or who have already graduated, and maybe you want to upskill in new skills, right? So then you take these credentials to help you get there. And again, the digital badge, that helps tell your story. So when you need that justification to say like, hey, I'm qualified for this position because our micro credentials are all about learning by doing. So there's going to be real world scenarios in these courses in which you're actually creating things that you would do in real life. You now have a portfolio to share with your employer that also showcases your skill sets, and you're able to build within these courses.
Excellent. Very cool. Maggie, is there anything else you want to share with the audience today before we jump into some live questions and answers?
I was just thinking, I think we covered it. Please let us know what questions you guys have.
So a question just came in from Greg. When does enrollment for the summer session cut off?
So enrollment at this point is completely rolling. You can enroll at any time. It's asynchronous. Enroll, start the course, pause, complete. We did put a cap of 4 months to complete the course. I think it's always helpful to have a little motivation, especially when something's self-led. But if something comes up, definitely let us know if you need a little more time. But yeah, you can enroll at any time.
Excellent. Shannon is asking, is there an acronym or abbreviations that can be used after certification? So something like PMP.
So the quick answer is no. This is a Chief of Staff certification course. That's kind of what you get. Part of the issue with that, and I'm working on figuring this out, is there is not an accrediting body of Chiefs of Staff. There's some different groups out there that have cohort programs and things, but we don't have like an accrediting body that will say, let's create a credential and, approve X, Y, or Z. So this is really the first and only kind of online certification program, definitely through a university, for Chief of Staff, when it comes to like the hands-on, self-paced kind of situation. So yeah, that's the answer there.
Excellent. I did just give everybody the opportunity to unmute. So people are continuing to ask questions in the chat. I'm going to take Andrew and I off spotlight and leave Maggie on. But if anybody wants to engage with Maggie or ask a verbal question, you're welcome to do that as well.
Seeing some questions come in. So it is recommended that you have access to PowerPoint or Google Slides for the course. There's a lot of PowerPoint development. So I would highly recommend that in order to get everything that you would want to get out of the course. And maybe if you don't have it, you could look into kind of how they do the free first month kinds of things. But yeah, I would definitely recommend having PowerPoint or Google Slides for the content creation that we do. All right, we've got a question about NMSU employee discount. My guess is that Lori, maybe you can take that and follow up on a faculty, kind of a faculty reimbursement. I think there's something that you guys can do there, but maybe we kind of skip that part on the call here because most people are not NMSU. Google Suite is free for word processing programs. Awesome, thanks Rachel, love that. And somebody who was helping me edit the course a little bit had told me about Grammarly. You can, this is just a hot tip that I didn't know until a couple weeks ago. You can download Grammarly for completely for free. I don't even think you have to give them your email. And it will edit anything that you write wherever you want to write it. So like LinkedIn doesn't have editing as you go, like Grammarly will do that for you. Same with the course. So good to know on all these.
Grammarly. Grammarly is a great tool. Both the free and the paid version are excellent for Grammarly. Excellent.
Awesome. I'm seeing some familiar names on here. Folks have emailed in to hello@coscertification.com with questions, and you can continue to do that. It's nice to see you guys on the call.
More questions or comments? Oh, there was one I saw through here. Is there, where did it go? Is there any connection with others taking the course or alumni associated with this course?
Yes. Okay. There are now 6 things I have to remember to talk about what you get when you leave the course. I think I thought there were 4, but now there are 6. At the end of the course, you will be put into, it's already created, a private LinkedIn group with Chief of Staff Certification grads. If you want access to your, fellow peers earlier, I can throw that out there into the announcements of the course and kind of see if everybody else wants to do the same. But basically, once you complete the course, you'll be in this private LinkedIn group where we can collaborate, chat with each other, share resources, really whatever you want.
Thomas is asking.
Sorry. Oh, go ahead, Lori. Why don't you manage the comments? That'd be great.
Thomas is asking, as a retired military senior officer, he's trying to find a role as a chief of staff. He feels like some companies feel they would need more business acumen. Does this require a high amount of previous corporate experience?
Let's see. So you're trying to find a role as chief of staff. I honestly think that the chief of staff roles are just so different depending on what the role is. And this can be applied to executive assistants too. I mean, some people are like, could I ever be a chief of staff if I'm an executive assistant? I think it would be a really hard jump in some situations. And in other situations, I'm hearing about it happen all the time. It depends on the size of the company. It depends on who, your own qualifications, and it depends on the leader and what they need and the support. So in the same sense, there are just so many different chief of staff roles, Thomas, that I believe you could probably sell your experience and in a way that talks through the skills that are applicable to a new environment. I talk about that in a different example with like leadership. Maybe somebody hasn't managed people before, but what have they done from an influential leadership perspective? And how do you reframe that to talk about, I didn't manage this person, but here's what I was able to accomplish with them. And they were, above me on the, seniority ladder. So I think it's kind of how you position things. Because it sounds like you have the experience. But I would say, if you're asking about the course is, you do not need a high level of business acumen to take the course. I have heard that I have a few acronyms in there that I need to spell out for people who aren't in the corporate world. So we're doing that. But no, this is all about hands-on practice, doing things that like a new chief of staff hasn't done before. So I think it'd be a good place to start. And truly, I'm hoping that people who take this course can walk away saying like, I understand the chief of staff role better. I have more confidence in what the job is and how I can approach a new role and have a conversation with a leader or in an interview where basically I can say, I would do this. This is how I would approach it. I have these tools and I'm ready to go. So I think the course could offer some help there. But we can, feel free to email. We'll put all the information in the text box here. But if you have any further questions, we can totally talk about it further, Thomas.
And to add to that too, Maggie, too, one thing I want to compliment Maggie on too is she kind of drives a lot through storytelling too. So a lot of the activities that you'll go through in the course, she really does do a good job of having you kind of put yourself in these positions and then go through these like activities, like as if you were actually in this work environment. So although you may not have a corporate background, the way that the course is created and the way that the activities are presented, you kind of take on that role as if you are working in some type of corporate environment and completing activities for executive leadership.
Yeah. So Thomas, yeah, you don't need an MBA to take this course. Nope. You can have one. It will still help. I did not learn a lot of this in my MBA program. That's why I created the course. I wanted that hands-on practice. But no, this is different. I want students who are undergrad and graduate students to learn about the benefits of this course.
Excellent. Greg Bear is raising his hand. Greg, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, so thank you for this. So I think I've done, when I heard you go through the modules, I know I've done this kind of stuff, but I'm curious, like what other titles other than the title Chief of Staff do you see out there that would take advantage of this course, for example?
Yeah, the title thing is hard because there's so many. Definitely like business operations titles, planning manager titles. But more so, I would think about the atmosphere of the job. So if you're in a job that supports the leader at the top of the business, and you're helping them drive initiatives forward and helping them kind of capture everything and plan and project manage and do a whole lot of different things, I would kind of consider like, what is the job and where in the company is it located? I'm also hearing a lot of like director of operations. I'm hearing, I mean, gosh, let's see, I'll pull up the kind of the information here, but we've got folks who are kind of in administrative slash leadership roles for a leader of XYZ. We have a administrator kind of slash chief of staff who is supporting like the head corrections officer in a county out west. So it's really cool to see all the different areas. We've got a director of finance in the course. We've got a director of investment accelerators at a accelerator, basically like somebody that invests in startups on a cyclical basis. We have chief of staff at nonprofit, healthcare chiefs of staff, more director of operations, C-suite executive assistants. We've got digital learning leadership. We've got alumni relationships. So I would think about what kind of job you enjoy and where your job would sit. And if you're doing a lot of different things, and if your polish level should be high, and if you're helping lead initiatives and drive business forward, I think that's how I would approach kind of, it's tough with the job titles for sure. There's just so much variation out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for the question. We just have a couple minutes. I just wanted to remind everybody, we are going to have, this has been recording. We will, Maggie and I are going to coordinate on an email and hopefully get it out by end of day tomorrow. It will include this recording. We also have an interview that Andrew and Maggie did in a conversation on a YouTube video. We'll share that with you. We'll share Maggie's email so that if you have follow-up questions, you can ask directly. There'll also be a link in there to enroll in the course and just any little bit of extra information. So we do thank everybody for joining us today. Maggie or Andrew, any follow-up last minute comments?
I will just answer the last question that I just saw so that we don't leave one unanswered here for Karen. There's not a test at the end of the module to get your certificate. This is a good talking point. Your assignments are complete, incomplete with some feedback at times on them. And at the end of the course, you will have a 10-minute kind of second meeting with me where we will review your final project. That's kind of like your last, it's not a test, but it's your last assignment where I will be able to give you feedback on kind of the summation of all of your work and what I would say you should focus on, answer any questions you have. And that's kind of the final signifier at the end. So, yeah.
And I guess my last comments for that too is I did put our LinkedIn page in the chat. So be sure to definitely give NMSU Global Campus also a follow. I know that there's some interest in other potential micro-credentials in the future that you might be interested in. So we'll be hosting a lot of other open houses coming very soon and announcing new micro-credentials as they come along, as well as content from our instructors like Maggie.
Excellent. Well, I just want to thank Maggie and Andrew for joining me today. I want to thank Rachel. Rachel was kind of in the background helping with the administration and technology as I fumbled through it a little bit. So I appreciate everybody's patience and for showing up. And we look forward to seeing you in the class.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.